So, when you hear emotional independence, what comes to your mind? Well, it refers to your ability to regulate your emotions and even maintain your sense of self worth without relying heavily on others for validation, for support, or even happiness. Emotional independence is just about self reliance emotionally while you build healthy relationship. It entails self awareness, self regulation, care, and even setting healthy boundaries. Resilience is key in emotional independence. And today we're going to be talking about emotional independence. I'm not doing this alone. I have Sambo Solomon Sabi.
Good morning, Joyce.
Wow, I should have introduced you with your southern name. Because, man,
You have started. You have started.
this outfit, it speaks loud. Anyways, you look good.
Thank you.
Prudence, Jemima, how do you see him?
Good morning.
You are inviting people to.
No, I'm just asking, how do you see Sambo Solomon? This is beyond the norm. Is this some form of emotional independence?
That I want to attack.
Okay.
I want to attack someone's emotion
Oh, wow.
and to see whether the person built resilience.
Oh,
You
no.
know, yes. So that's just it.
Oh, great.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go into the topic. We're talking about emotional independence. I mean, when you hear the word independence, of course, it speaks to freedom. It speaks to like resilience. Like it speaks to a lot of things. Today we have a lot of people in one form of relationship or the other that they are struggling with. There are people that are depressed as we speak right now. There are people that are anxious. There are people that every day they are in tears because they have so tied their emotions to somebody's validation, to somebody's like support and all of that. And we have so seen the impact even as they relate with other people because of their expectation of either their parents or their loved ones. They turn out to be violent to other people. There are certain people that don't know what it means to love and to love genuinely because of where they are actually coming from and because of their experiences. But I would like us to start this way. Have you emotionally depend on someone that it affected you, or have you depended, like how did it affect you depending on somebody emotionally? Have you experienced that before? Have you depended on someone emotionally? You have. How did it affect you? So if we can just be open to share some of our stories, like whether with family members, whether love relationship, have you depended so much on somebody emotionally? How did it affect you? Before we talk about how you overcame that.
Okay. Well, you see, when you talk about emotion, you permit me to say my own understanding. You know how I see it. I would say it's something that is key. Key is that it's something that drives someone. Because this is my reason. If you are not emotionally balanced or you are not in control of your emotions, everything around you gets affected negatively to a point that it becomes a health challenge. So you see, my experience, I will say in summary, it is the grace of God that I'm where I am today, and I'm even talking, and people are watching globally. It's the grace of God. Some are not opportune to even have this second chance. Second chance in the sense that, you know, God help you, you navigate your way. At some point, your heart was locked to certain belief, to certain ideologies, to certain background, upbringing and stuff. You understand? That you are just surrounded with, that is just choking you. And then gradually, God is just dropping people around you. And simply because you have open mind. And it doesn't mean because you have open mind, everything that just come will just flow. No. You will even struggle with it because there is something that you hold on so tight, that you believe in, that you feel whatever is coming, maybe it's just contradicting that thing that you hold on to so tight. You know, for my my growing up, when I lost my dad, you know, things became so difficult that to a point I was thinking I'm just escorting people. I think I shared this time with that number. Like, to a point that you just feel, okay, everything is gone, so you are just living your life anywhere belief face. Like the pigeon people will say, anything that comes your way, that's how God designed it. But it's a lie from the pit of hell. Yes, because we have certain things that happen to us that we are the one that designed it and made it to happen. And because God says whatever you ask from him, he say whatever you ask from him, he will give you. So if you ask, this is the pattern that you want, he allow your will, because he has given you the power to access. So he allows it because he cannot lie. It's his word, right? So after losing everything and so on and so forth, so life became so difficult that you just find yourself, wherever you see space to sleep. It got to that point that my mom would just be looking for me like angwa by angwa. Did you see my child? Because any school that I see empty, that's where I'll just gather bench and lie down. Tomorrow I move on. Like that, to that level. Not until community, when I mean community, church, begin to feel like, no, there is hope in this child. And then we can do something about it. But don't forget, whatever they are saying, I'm not getting it right. Because already there is something in me, there's this belief that I hold on to. Like if you don't have your father, all is gone. But it was a lie that I was even telling myself, because even at that time, there are people that are even worse, like facing a worse situation that I was in then, but my eye wasn't open to see that. You see, so it became so difficult. But gradually meeting people, and then they keep shaping you. And up to today, you are still meeting people in life that have a bigger experience when it comes to life, when it comes to work, when it comes to a point, I resigned. To tell you that even at work, you can be emotionally imbalanced. That certain things, you can't just handle it. But look at me today. Don't come and say, you are giving this for who? To do what? There and then, the person tears it. When he was tearing it, it was an additional trauma psychologically to me. Why? I was just thinking something that someone would just... But somebody is seeing something different that you are not even seeing. Look at me today. It's just a testimony that how God helped someone. If you talk about love life, there's this person that I always talk about, that emotionally we are so attached because of how the person changed my... She's one of the person that helped me even in life to begin to see direction, to open my mind and begin to see reason in what even people are saying. So you can see, sometimes if you find the true love, can reshape your life. Even though it didn't end in marriage, but today, till I die, I can testify. She's one of the reasons why I got my bearing. Because she's so committed to things of God. She's positive about life. And she's coming from a family that is well-to-do. But she's just been sincere with her, just loving me. Until God calls her. It got to a point that I was devastated. Imagine somebody trying to pull everything, gather it, and then you just lose the person. And it was to a point. The mom called me and said, "No, we know we lost her, but we can't afford to still lose you, because already you are deteriorating. Nothing good is coming out. Like you are shrinking. Like you don't think straight. You are just there, and everybody that knows you after that incident always is getting worried day by day about you, because every day people are waking up with the notion that they can just hear something bad happen. It got to that point. Not until the mother called me. She said, "No, my son, she said, how it all started. I'm not in the game. you know. I say yes. But at some point, I just feel you are the best for her. But now she's gone. So you have to accept it and move on. But we will help you with prayer. So time to time, these elderly mothers will call me and advise me and try to shape me and things. So you see, this is just my little whatever out of so many,
Wow.
you know.
Emotional dependence is something that happens to almost everybody at different points in time. Because I don't think anyone should be able to hit his chest and say, I have never depended on
Some
another
people
person.
do that.
You were
Right
not, you
from
are not
when-
born.
Right from when I was born to this point, I have never depended. Well, consciously or unconsciously, with your permission or without your permission, you must have depended on someone. And for you to get to where you are, it means there are times that it went sour, it went wrong, and then you have to retake your steps and come back. When you're asking the question, I was like, okay, which one am I?
Hey, which one? Out of the men.
Because depending
Out of the
is like-
thousands.
yes, depending emotionally has been a battle, especially from the point that you didn't really know your left from your right, from the point that you didn't know that, okay, you can actually depend on yourself emotionally and get results, from the point that you made certain people idols, certain people gods, and you feel like, if I depend on this one, I'll get 100% from me, so let me go, and then you go and got 0. So depending on people and failing is not news. It's no longer news, because in fact, when you depend on someone and succeed, that is when it becomes news. Because like, oh, okay. So I have depended on a lot of people, but let me use the simple scapegoat right now. My husband. So there were times that I was caught in the web of my own emotions, and I was really swimming in it, and I expected that he should come through for me. Yesterday we spoke about forsaking all of that, right? So the one I did not forsake should come through for me. And I expected that, okay, he should know. I don't need to even say much. Just by seeing, he should know that I am going through a lot. And then he was just in his own world. He was
Living his
doing
life.
he was living the life. He was just doing things normally, like nothing was wrong. And that was making me angrier. Because first of all, I am battling with emotional stuff and I am depending on you. But it's like I was putting the whole load on him without him knowing that I was even putting a load on him. So him knowing that I was going through it was making him not knowing I was going through it was making me angry, and then him not doing anything about it was making me angry. That was actually
About what he didn't know.
Yes, that was
It's
actually when
making
I
you
gave birth to my first child. I felt like, so you didn't know what I went through. So you didn't know that. It was really so much. And he was feeling like, okay, he has a child. He's just all of that. And I became angry, and it was showing in every single thing I was doing. And so at a point he was wondering, what is it? Are you fine? When it got to a point that I could no longer hold it, I had to just pour it out. Why are you doing this? Didn't you know I went through this? Didn't you know I have experienced all of this? I explained all of that. It was at that point that he was like, I didn't know. I had no idea. And it was kind of late because the whole process was almost over. Yes, I had already come out of it. That was why I was even able to say it out. And then he was like, I didn't know. So depending on people emotionally, I feel it's two-faced. One, you should not even depend on them totally. Not that you should not depend, but don't depend on them totally. You should have a plan B when depending on somebody. And secondly, give that notion that that person may not even be aware that you are depending on him. Just like my own case, I was expecting that, okay, he should automatically know that this is what is going on. But he didn't even know. Probably he had an idea, but he didn't even know that it was that serious. And until it escalated, that was when the whole thing really blew off. So that is to say,
I can imagine what you went through out that period that you didn't talk about it, and also
yes. And then with the expectation, it now fueled more anger.
Wow.
Really.
It's Prudence, you two out of the 1,000, just choose one.
All right, I'm going to start off this way, right? One thing that I heard from what they both said is that you cannot be totally independent emotionally. One way or another, you find yourself dependent on someone, even in its minimal sense of it. Even if it's just a very small thing, but you are dependent on someone emotionally. That's one thing about emotional intelligence. As you're giving birth to, as a child, you are emotionally dependent on your mother. You are emotionally dependent on your father. If the father is not coming through for certain things, you become disappointed, and there's just this whole lot of emotions that go through your head because you were emotionally dependent on those people. You find people turning out to be something else because their fathers were deadbeat, their fathers were MIA, and you find that this child is acting up, is reacting and all those things because he was emotionally dependent on the father, expecting a lot of things from the dad, and the dad is not giving forth. And so it affects the child's growth in general. So one way or another, you should know that you have been dependent on someone. But here is the thing. Dependence on people emotionally can actually be what brings you down. Quick illustration of my story. Growing up, I am one person, I think I've mentioned it sometimes here. I am one person that never knew what she wanted to do. I did not have a clue. I said it jokingly one time that I wanted to be a choir mistress. But you don't need to go to school to do that. Exactly. You see my point. I had no idea. I had no idea what I wanted to do in my life. And so I went through the motions of school. All I knew was that I had to go to an arts class because honestly, physics and chemistry was not for me. So I had to go to an art class. Fine. I went to an art class. I finished. And I came to register for JAM. Then I called my dad and said, emotional dependence to my dad, right? I called my dad and I said, Dad, so I'm filling out my JAM form. And they're asking for what I would like to study. And also what school I would like to go to. And my dad said, so why did you call me? And I was like, I'm calling so that you will help me through with this decision. I can't make the choice alone. Because I was emotionally drained. I was thinking the only solution I can get for this is to call my dad. My dad said he's not the one that is going to go to the school, so why am I asking him? It's what I want to do. What? So at that point, and then after we finished the discussion, I cut the call and sat down. And everybody said, you're not going to go and register. I said, I don't know what to register for. I did not get the answer I was looking for. And so I was lost. That's how much I was dependent on my dad and expecting him to give me the results that I was hoping to get. At the end of the day, I applied for a different course, then came back and changed the course. I had a roller coaster ride before I finally landed where I am at right now. But here's the point. At that moment, I was broken. I literally sat down, started crying because I did not know what to do next. My dad was not giving me any answer. I called my mom and she was telling me the same thing again. It's like they had a meeting together and they decided they're not going to tell this girl anything. And so I felt broken. That's one thing about emotional dependence. There are times that human beings would disappoint. And so as much as you're depending on someone, you need to also know that, okay, so certain decisions, certain choices, you have to make them on your own. Not every time that someone is going to be there for you. It's not every time that you would expect someone to be there for you. Even as a married couple, you find that there are times that the husband is not there for the wife and the wife is not there for the husband. Parents too, there are times that they have it in over their heads with a lot of things. And so they are not there for the child when the child probably needs it. So that's why you see some children grow up faster than expected because they had to develop themselves emotionally quicker than their peers because of the lack thereof, and they had to build up and build that. So one thing about that is that it is a sketchy place to work around. In fact, anything that has to do with emotions is like a very interesting place to tread on. You would find times that you are broken. You would find times that you cannot depend on someone. You will also find times that you can depend on someone. You can also find time where validation is needed. Quick illustration. One time we were doing a project, what they call it, practicals in school, and a friend of mine called me all the way from my classroom that I should come and taste his food, because the what do they call it? The invigilators did not tell him exactly what he wanted to hear, and he wanted to hear it from somebody that was close, looking for validation. So it's not fast track.
Eating it for free, you say positive things, or else they will add for you.
I would also like us to draw the line between seeking support and also emotional dependence, because like the story Prudence narrated about calling her dad Jam, I would like to see it as seeking support instead of emotional.
I had no idea, so it was dependence.
Because you see, like I said from the opening, when you talk about emotional dependence, or independence now, is your ability to regulate your emotions. And when you talk about emotion, the state of your mind, whether happy, you're sad, you're angry, you're like the state that you are, like your emotions. So now dependence is like, I'm not leaving it to Sambo Solomon to determine when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm angry, but I'm taking control that even when I get angry, it is because the situation, like, I'm not allowing Sambo Solomon to determine when I get angry and when I'm not angry. Like I'm able to regulate that.
Or you can tell me you can be happy now.
Do you understand? Because there are people that will say, today I'm going to the office. I will spoil this person's mind. And then the person comes to and say, well, what kind of dressing is this one? God forbid, I will never wake up like this. And then throughout the day in the office, you're angry. Because somebody said that, but you prayed at home before leaving the house. You said, today I'm going to be happy, nothing takes my joy. And then somebody say, my mission today when I enter, I would spoil their mind. There are people that's what they will say. And then by the time the person comes and say, what kind of cap is this? It's not even fine. I'll say, it's fine. To you, it's not fine. Fine. It's okay. But for me, it's fine. I like it like that. There are people that won't tell you, I like it like that. So the person is already in charge of his or her own emotion. This person that is saying, whether it's not fine or it's fine for me. This person has built resilience. This person have gotten to the level of self-reliance emotionally. So I just feel that a lot of things that we struggle with today is because we have tied it to other persons. Like, because we are so dependent. There were times that I was dependent on my parents emotionally, whether to be happy or not to be happy. So you come back home and then you are telling your father, do you know that my result is out, and then this is my GP? And my father would say, what is his business in that? And then I was like, what kind of father is this one? The other fathers will just carry you up. They will buy this, buy that. So my father will laugh at you and say, what's my business? You tell your father that you will not go to school today. You say, go and carry the small bed inside and come and lie down on it. So if you think you want to tie your happiness to this person, you will be angry all the time. So I know that as children, emotionally, we are dependent on our parents. But as adults, you grow to that level that you tell yourself that, see, I am in charge. I develop this ability to regulate my emotions. I am going to maintain my emotions. Like my self-worth, I will not tie it to anybody. There are people that would dress. If you don't tell them you look good, they are angry. Because they have tied it to other people. People will take time, spend money to look good. And all they want is when they get there, they will look at themselves in the mirror. They are looking good. But it's not enough. When they get to a place and nobody says, your hair is fine, your skirt is fine, they are not happy. They can go back and fight their tailors. They will say, after wearing this clothes, nobody admired me. They can go back and fight their braider. They will say, after you made my hair, nobody even admired the hair. I remember one lady, after braiding her, she said, none of you even said the hair is even fine. Are you sure this hair is fine? She looked at herself and then she said, it's fine for her, but because nobody mentioned it, she was not happy. Or the person finished making his or her hair, and then And then it's beautiful, and she's excited going out, and somebody said this hair is not even fine, it doesn't fit you. Like if you had round face, you will have fit perfectly, and then person is angry and you lose the hair. That is a emotional dependence on people. In relationship, we find that a lot. In fact, I've had my share of, like, my own share of emotional dependent emotionally. I expect that you are in relationship with this person should call you all the time now. This person should validate you. Oh, you are beautiful, you are this, you are that. This person should give you some level of attention and all of that. Like, that's what we define as love. And then you're surprised to see that none of these things coming. Person calls you once a day. The person just sends you message. The person does not, like, it's not always available because of how busy his or her schedule is, and you are angry that I'm not going to do this relationship again. This person does not love me. Like, I'm not happy. You become angry with everybody around you. Say, in fact, all men has come. Oh, I'm not doing this relationship thing. I think it's very important that we grow to a point that we don't tie our emotional, like, states on other people. For some, it's their parents. There are guys that some people will tell you, don't marry last born, or don't marry a mama's boy, something like that, because this person has tied his or her own emotion to their parents, and what their parents say determine their state of mind. For some, it's their spouse or their partner. If my partner does not say this about me, I'm not happy. So, once people know and they find out that, oh, you have tied your emotions to them, they will so deal with you. I've seen ladies that have struggled, have been depressed. Why? Because they have tied their emotions to a man. And because the man know that, oh, this lady is so dependent on me emotionally, he does whatever he wants to do, and he knows how to get you back, because he knows that your emotions are actually tied to his validation. Your happiness is actually tied to his own validation. Like, you seek all of that from him, and so he will deal with you. There are ladies too that they will tell you, I will deal with him. I know he loves me. He cannot do anything, because they have grown to that point of knowing that, see, you are not independent emotionally, and they are the ones that validate your state of mind. You see someone say, I will change it for her today. My wife, let me get home, I'll change it for her. My husband, I will deal with him. I know him better. And because you have so much attached your happiness, your joy, your validation to those people, they do with you as they wish. So, in as much as seeking support is important, in as much as emotions are like defines your state of mind, you need to be deliberate about it, especially in regulating it. I'm not saying that you should not expect, but manage your expectation. I mean, where would you get all the validation, the love, the word from, apart from your partner? So, but manage your expectation. And that's why for some people, when they lose their loved ones, they are broken, because they have tied, the emotional dependence is on a high side. So when they lose their loved one, or because you are so much attached to family, you are now posted outside where your family, and you see the person is broken. Why? Because, and then from there you see the person developing one form of health challenge or the other, and the next thing you're hearing that, oh, this person broke down, and because they are so much attached. So you have to have an understanding that life can happen to you. Life can happen. You need to manage your expectation. These people are humans. Like, there are some people who tell us that, oh, you are heart hardened. It is not. I've had somebody told me that you're heart hardened. Like, you know, people who do things to get at you, and they see that it does not move you, and they say you're heart hardened. No, it's not heart hardened. We had to, like, I had to develop that self-reliance, like, emotionally. I had to develop that self-worth. Like, I am enough. I don't need somebody to tell me that, to define who I am. Yesterday we were talking about, or is it day before yesterday, I was talking about independent, like identity, accepting your identity. I think detachment. We're talking about detachment, and you see, a lot of people tie their emotions are also attached to other people. You must get to that level where you detach yourself to things that are not working, to things that does not align with your well-being, your peace, and your growth. And we find that even in emotional dependent, it is against your growth, it is against your peace, but yet you tie yourself to it, and then you're always bitter. A girl always coming back with injuries on her head, on her body, and then she will tell you, I fell down. But if you check the story, her boyfriend is beating her. Somebody you're not, I'm not even saying that if you're married to somebody should beat you, but then you are just a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and they are not even married today. He later got married to somebody else, and she left just to another place. But every day this guy beats this lady. For one thing or tomorrow she will still buy food stuff and go to the house and go and cook food for him. He will finish eating and he will beat her. He will say she did this, she did that. Even when her family members now, because she was always lying that she fell down. One of the times we asked, you fell, how come? Like the injury is on your head. How did you fall? I don't understand. How are you walking that you fell and then the injury was on your head? Like she said, she just slipped off and she fell on your head and then back up. Unknown to us, it was the guy that actually beat her very well. And she still bought. You see person selling hawking tomato, she will call and buy. Hawking pepper, she will call and buy. After work, she will go and cook for this guy. He'll finish and he will beat her because she has tied that emotion and then the validation to that guy.
And
so
he is aware that he is in control.
Yes, and he knows after beating, she will come tomorrow. When her family members went to him, why would you be beating her sister? Like, say, did I bring her? Was I the one that invited her to my house? After that, he insulted her family, but she still went the next day. Not until he got somebody pregnant and he married the person. She just relocated from Jos. So you have to develop that self-reliance emotionally. Know that in yourself you are enough. Don't allow anybody define you. Embrace your identity. People use that to get to you. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but I think we need to grow to that level that will regulate how we are so dependent. You regulate your emotions, like how you attach it to other persons. But these things are not without challenges. There are people that will tell you, I have tried. Like we all shared how we were dependent, how it affected us. But how do people now? I want to be self-reliant emotionally, but it is not without challenge. Can we point out some of the challenges and how can people overcome like emotional dependence and become independent?
All right, so let me quickly start off this way, right? We spoke about emotional detachment. We talked about the power of detachment, like Tuesday, and that's one key thing. And I remember mentioning that we have, when we're talking about the relationship between family members, it is quite hard to detach yourself. And for a person who has a mother who emotionally blackmails you because she knows that you're emotionally dependent on her, it is quite hard for you to detach yourself from her, to even think that you are emotionally independent, because she knows all the ways to play with your emotions and make sure that you do happy things.
9 months, I carried you for 9 months. They will tell you all manner of things to just make you emotionally like. And then at the end of the day, so what do you want?
Exactly.
I should wash your clothes.
So you're looking at it like that. Even there are certain fathers that are that way too, and they already know the cards to play so that you would do their bidding, and because of that, you are totally tied emotionally to them. You cannot even find yourself literally. And so when you actually think that you want to find yourself, the challenge is there that you would continuously start thinking, how much would it affect this relationship? I don't want to. Because I spoke with someone one time. I was telling him, why can't you just tell your dad that this is what you want to do with your life? And what he wants for you is not exactly what you want. Your wills, they're not aligning. And he said, do you know my father? If I come to tell him this kind of thing, the relationship will be broken forever. And so because of the fear of breaking that relationship, he could not even tell that this is who I want to be. This is me. This is how I can. This is what would actually make me happy. And so your happiness and your sadness now depends on whether your father and your mother are happy or not. And because you are totally directed to that, you're totally in tune with that, it is going to definitely be hard, because you know that when you want to break it, your parents will not be happy. There are times that they will definitely not be happy with some of your choices because you want to be emotionally. So you know that you would be stepping on their toes as much, because you are working on how you can detach yourself from them being your sole reason of being happy or sad. And so because of that, you can already see that it would affect your relationship. It would affect a lot of things. But are you prepared for those repercussions before you go ahead and do certain things? And as much as we're doing it, some of us end up getting to the extreme and doing things overly. You want to have emotional independence, and because you want to have emotional independence, you just tell your parents one day and say, I don't care how you feel, but I'm leaving the house. And your father has reasons to make you stay at home for certain reasons why it would be better for you to work from home, and there are certain things that you can put in place and help your life be more emotionally stable. But you would even close off your ears because you're saying, no, this time around I want to be me, I want to be real to me. It doesn't matter whether they are happy or not. And so some of us make that mistake of going to the extreme. So as much as you want to be emotionally independent, even physical, because sometimes physical independence comes into play in that. As much as you want to be that, you have to also understand that you are also accountable to people, and there are other people that are also emotionally dependent on you. So how you play around those things has to be like, you have to put in a lot of effort. It's not something that you just wake up in the morning and because you think that everything is getting over you and you're just being too emotionally attached to this person, and then you just cut off some relationships that you should not cut off because you want to be emotionally independent. So look at it, be careful how you I think we mentioned that you need to understand your purpose and your self-worth and who you are, your identity as a person. And when you're able to understand these three, you'll be able to navigate whatever comes your way. We talked about how Paul says in his letter that you should study to make yourself approved so that you can answer to anybody and answer anyone. All those things come to play even with emotional intelligence, because emotional independence, because emotional independence stems from emotional intelligence. So how have you built your emotional intelligence to the level that you're able to create a balance where you know that this is where my dependence emotionally for this person is, and this is me going an extreme. So you have to also understand all those things to be able to be independent emotionally.
The challenge I see in emotional dependence is that you would always be disappointed because you're depending with expectation, and if that expectation is not met, it results to disappointment. And then secondly, the person in charge of holding your emotion, the person you willingly gave your emotional freedom to, would always control and manipulate you, because he is aware already that you have willingly given that to him, so he would always be in control of it. And the way out for me is to know yourself.
True.
Just to know yourself. People don't want to do that. I don't know why people shy away. People really run away from this self-discovery of a thing. If you know yourself, you know what you need to do. You know the decisions, the vital decisions you need to make. And even if at any point you need to depend on someone, you know exactly where to start depending and where to stop depending. So if you know yourself, all of these things would not even come into play. So knowing yourself plays a vital role in emotional dependence. A man depended in his mother so much that even when he got married, she was controlling his home from wherever she was. She just needs to say this and that, and it is done. And whenever she is present, she was practically the wife in the home. She was the mother and she was the wife, because anything she said, just say it and it is done. He had to get to a point that, no, you are looking down on me, you are looking down on my wife, you are looking down on my children because of this that I gave you. I need to take it back. And the moment he did that, yes, initially it was rough and it was not nice, but eventually everybody knew his place and everybody knew his role, and things fell back in place. He got to that point of self-awareness, self-discovery. He knew what he wanted and he worked towards it. Initially it was rough, but eventually it settled a lot of things.
You see, you talked about purpose, self-awareness, will help you you see, emotional intelligence cannot just come until you study. You study, you observe, and then you add to your knowledge, and that will now graduate and give you that emotional dependence. Because it's all about how you use your emotion. The emotions will always be there, but how do you use it? You can't use it well if you don't know who you are. You can't use it well if you are always, I'm always depending on Joy simply because we are close. So whatever she said, that is it. So who told me that whatever she's telling me from the point of view that she's being sincere? You have to check that. So how do you know that? You have to build yourself to that capacity. Like you say, when we are all babies, we just have to totally depend on our parents to tell us what. Like yesterday, I was telling my child, I said, whatever you see, we are telling you in this house and the rest. Just know that you are not giving to us for us to maltreat you, to tell you what we feel like doing, and you just do it. And when you don't do it, we are angry, we are furious, we are shouting here and there. You guys are gift. Ideally, you are being given to us to just guide you. There is a limit. So parents should know that. If you have a child, it's a gift. And God decided to give you so that you will guide the child. It's not that you have total control of his life until he dies. Do you understand? Like just the illustration that you give. Because some parents, because of that, it has built that character in them that they are in total control. That's why African woman will tell you, even if you like, you have gray hair, you are what, I am still your mother. And particularly our mothers, they are used, because the fathers will take, but now the child is grown, leave this child now, let him have the father sometimes you hear, but the mother will tell you, 9 months, I feed you with my breast for 2 years. You have been sucking, you are the reason why it's looking like this. So some of them, they are using it as a tool to even manipulate you.
So if I remove
said,
my breast for you,
you know, I swear for you.
If you go anywhere, I'll swear for
you.
You
see, so parents have to understand that children are gift, and you are to guide them. There will be a point that you just have to leave them to live their life. That's why some of our parents, they are not with their parents, because some of them are not even living. Even if they are living, they are far apart, and you do things without their whatever. So you have to open your mind to learn more, not just learning, but you have to apply it. And all about when we're talking about emotional independence, it's talking about balance. It's not talking about the emotion totally will not be there. It's talking about balance, how you use your emotions. You know, when Joyce tell me this and I'm angry, to what extent? Do I have the ability, the capacity to even scrutinize what she's saying? Maybe she's even genuine what she's saying just to help me, but I'm seeing it because I don't have the capacity to even scrutinize and seeing from the angle which she's seeing, and I'm angry. But if you have that capacity, you know, you'll be able to, why am I angry while Joyce is even telling me the truth? You see the intelligence that you are applying in it now.
If I tell you what happened to me some years back,
yes,
about somebody's comments, I think I shared it. I had either absent or a missing result during my diploma days, and then I went to apply for the whole thing. So the exam officer said I should write a letter. So I wrote the letter. After the letter, I now wrote yours sincerely, Joyce Jakada, and I took it to the man, and he carried it and looked at it. He now flicked it at me. Who is interested in your stupid name? That was what he said. I went out. I didn't even care that it was a school environment. I sat down on the ground. I cried. My friends came to me begging me to get up. Why was I crying? He said, stupid name. But is my name stupid? But because somebody said that my name is stupid. Like I had an expectation. And then who is interested in your stupid name? And I was angry throughout the day. I cried throughout the day. It took one person to talk to me. Are you stupid? I said no. Why are you crying? What are you supposed to do? He said I should write math number. Go and write now. You sat down here and so he spoke, and later I was like, my name is not stupid. Like, so I own up. And that's how sometimes some of us do. We spend the whole day. God gave you 24 hours. He said rejoice. So the psalmist said, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad. And then you allow somebody, the day that the Lord gave you, that somebody was praying hard that God, please let me see this year. Now you used it because of a statement from somebody. Somebody will tell you amount to nothing, and then you hold that word to heart. This person say I will amount to nothing. He's not even the final examiner. So, but you hold the word. There are people that will tell you you will fail, and then you hold it to heart. I will say I will not fail. I told you the story of my level coordinator that told me that I'm not sure. Imagine a level coordinator tells you that, like, you're almost finished. That I'm not sure you read exam question and even pass. And this person is going to be in charge of your records. And I look at the woman. What came to my mind is that you don't even know me. I will not fail. I will read this question, I will understand, and I will pass. Unfortunately, she was changed like after a year. So you have to get to that point. Jemima spoke about self-awareness. Who are you? Even our parents manipulate us emotionally because they birth you. And sometimes, I remember one time my sister called me and said, thank God my father is not watching. Then he called her. And then he told her that, how are you now? Like, both of them, I called them 5 and 6. She said she's fine. That now him is at the restaurant. He has finished eating and he has not paid. And that, so she too, like, she was now worried. Hey, her father went to eat and he has not paid. She now called me. That how far now? I should send her so amount of money that she wants to send it to her father. He said he went to restaurant and he eat. And I looked, I was hearing my sister and I just got angry. I said, how can you be thinking and agreeing that somebody went to eat and then he does not have money?
So where did you go?
I said, you don't know your father. He went there like this. He saw people. I decided to pay for everybody there. He wants to pay for everybody there. And she said, I said, see, call him back and tell him that when he's done eating, he said that he has finished eating, that they should lead him to their kitchen so that he can wash all the plates there when he's done washing it. But I said, why would I say that? I now ended the call. Then later she called me back and I said that she has sent the money, but he told her that there were people there that he needed to pay for. I said, okay. So our parents can manipulate us to that point because they know our family members, you're attached to them emotionally already. But even at that, we have taken decisions that are even against our purpose because you want to please your family members, you want to please your parent. God is saying, this is where I'm leading you to. But your parents, there are people that are married to people that the ordinary they shouldn't get to marry to. But because the mother said she wanted a rich man, while she knows her heart is with this person, but because the mother said a rich person though, she had to go and marry, and she's suffering now in it. There are girls that will have them tell their mother, this thing I'm going through is because of you. She said, I birthed you. I cannot lead you wrongly. Accept this one, leave this one. Is it grass that you eat? And you accept. So you need to know yourself. Earlier I was talking about the importance of self-awareness. Knowing who you are. There are parents that will lead you astray. Forget that they are your parents.
Yes.
But they will lead you astray. What would you say about a mother that has a beer parlor that is telling her daughter to sleep with her customers so that he can come back again? So, but when you know who you are, you know you've come to that level, understanding your purpose, you can face your mother and say, I will not do that. So, because some of them got married even without knowing who they are. They got married as early as 13, 14, 15 years. They grew in the home. So they did not even grow maturely, like to the point of even knowing right and wrong. Maybe the marriage, it was a result of pregnancy. And that's the same training she wants to give to you. If God has helped you and opened your mind, nobody's saying you should disrespect your parent. And that's why earlier on I was saying we need to differentiate between seeking support and then emotional dependence. Like, if you are seeking support, all of us need support. Nobody can be independent, like only you, nobody's an island. We all need one another. So you need to differentiate between support. We're not saying you should be disrespectful to your loved ones or people around you because you can. Let me tell you, you cannot. So, but emotionally, you must learn to regulate your emotions. You must learn to maintain your self-worth. Know that you are enough. Don't allow that, somebody has to validate me. Somebody has the key to my happiness. When you do that, you will suffer. And that's why somebody will start this business. Tomorrow you start another one because he sees progress progressing. You leave it and go to, because you are not even in charge of yourself. So the first step for me, like Jemima said, is self-awareness. Like emotion, you learn to regulate your emotions as well. Let it not be that it's somebody you are leaving the keys to other people. They regulate your emotion. Don't worry, he's in our guy. I know how to get at him, and they will really get at you. And somebody will call you and say, you are my brother, oh, and you are my sister. You will not do this, or who will do it? And what they're asking you to do is wrong. Or I'm your mother. I cannot tell you to do something. You must grow, learn, know yourself, regulate your emotion. And it's also important that you set healthy boundaries. Be self-reliant emotionally while building healthy relationship. And how do you build healthy relationship? Make sure that there are healthy boundaries that you said. Though you are my mother, though you are my father, though you are my brother, you're my sister, though I'm in a relationship with you, but these are the boundaries based on my values, based on my principles, based on my own purpose. Sometimes your parents' purpose is not what God's purpose is for your life. God is telling you this direction. Your parents say, I brought you. It has to be this direction. And you see that it's conflicting. So know who you are. What are your values? Anything that contradicts your well-being, your happiness, and your growth, or contradicts with your belief, I mean, it's not something that you should allow to affect you emotionally. And when we do that, I think it's going to help us to be emotionally independence. There are a lot of things to discuss about emotional independence, but I think we have to grow too. We have to embrace it, because it's going to help us deal with issues around like anxiety, depression, and even some of the mental challenges that we are facing. And when we do that, it's going to be really helpful. Our time is actually fast spent, but I'll still give us 1 minute to just give our final words.
Well, let me say this, because foundation is very important.
True.
Right? And then whenever I said this, it boils down to parent. Please don't use your children as collateral. Please, because when you leave and they are not, when you leave, like finally you are not longer living, you leave them with that trauma, and they will continue to be regretting simply because they feel you've put them in the wrong path. So I think it is very important for our parents to know this. Secondly, grow to a point as a child that you will reach a position and tell your mom or your dad, I know my place in God, and this is what God said concerning me. If you truly know whatever manipulation that is coming from your parent, God will not listen to them, because God is a God of justice. One time I told my mom, I said, you cannot blackmail me and tell me because you give birth to me, you are just privileged. Because you are just privileged. I would have come in a different house, but you are just privileged. I'm here. I know what God said concerning me. I know his words, concerning me, and I'm believing it. So if you like, go to anywhere and say you want to swear for anything. If I'm on my right, God will not even listen to you. So we should grow to that point that we will know that we are standing on the right path, even if our parents are sending us the wrong path. So when it comes to the issue of detachment, because she mentioned something that is going to be difficult, because she's your mom, is your dad, you find out that detaching from them or something is going to be difficult.
Detachment is not about building walls.
Some you can, Joyce, I'm telling you, some you can cut, because some find their bearing when they leave their parent totally. That's when they find their bearing. You understand? So some, you just have to build the emotion to know when to leave. If it's time for you to truly leave and cut off. But if you know it's not time, at least you know, build that capacity. It is very important.
Yeah, okay, so just like he said, there's one thing that I learned over time. There was a point in my life where my mom wanted me to do something, and then she kept on saying, if it was your sister, I would not have any issues with you, like that. And I literally told her, I'm not my sister. This is me. And if you tell me to do this, I would be extremely uncomfortable, and it will make the people that I'm going to uncomfortable as well. So I can't do it.
Sister did not say see your mate.
and
You don't want to hear my own story with see your mate.
And because I said something like that, the people around were down saying, is that your mother you're talking to like that? And I'm like, this is between me and my mom, and she understands that I've reached my breaking point, and I cannot go against what I believe. I cannot make myself totally uncomfortable for a whole period of 1 week just because my mom will be comfortable with what. No, I cannot do it. I can't. And because I know that I will not be comfortable, the people that I'm going to go to their place to will not be comfortable, because my uncomfortability will rub off. It will definitely rub off. And so you're going to sentence a group of people to 1 week uncomfortability just because of a decision. And I drew the line there and I said I would not do it. And regardless of what people were saying, because I was convinced that this is what I'm supposed to do, I still stood on my ground and I did not do it at the end of the day. So you have to understand that this is the person you are and this is the outcome of this choice that you have to make. That's another thing about being emotionally independent. You have a clarity of how the outcome would come up. So when you're making a decision, you know that this is how it will turn over. So you have to, like I said earlier, you have to know your identity as a person, know your direction and know your purpose, and be independent emotionally, not entirely, because it is really important to depend on people once in a while, but manage your expectations as well. It would really go a long way to help you in your navigating your life.
I remember my dad asking me, do you know Jemima? And I say, yes, now we finished from the same secondary school. I say, are you aware she's in 400 level? And you are here. I will enter the room, I will cry, I will say, God, what kind of father is this one? But we grew to a point that, do you know this? I know. Does the person know me too? He knows me. Do you know the person? Me too, I'm here.
Balance.
Exactly. So it is not too late for you to be emotionally independent. Even if you had been dependent over the years, the point of realization is the point of change. So it is not too late. The only time that it is too late is when you are no longer breathing. Even at old age, you can always retract your steps and do the right thing.
Wow, powerful one. Thank you all for doing this.
Pleasure.
Our viewers out there, thank you for staying with us on today's edition of Today's Life. We spoke intensively about emotional independence, which is the ability to regulate your emotions and maintain your self-worth without heavily depending on others for validation, support, or happiness. And that begins with self-awareness. You need to do that so that you can save yourself the stress of seeking validations from others or allowing others control the state of your mind. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition on Today's Life. For now, we say have a great day and remain blessed. Bye-bye.